What happens when you have two people who come from entirely different backgrounds and who have entirely different preferences when it comes to money? Well, typically they get married, they start a business together, or they have kids together, and here we go. The real reason that we have clashes when it comes to our personal finances, and it has nothing to do with a budget. Today, we're going to talk about different scenarios where we have different money personalities in relationship. The truth is, you think that everybody's like you when it comes to money. And we have a lot of financial experts out there who think that everybody should be just like them, and it just doesn't work that way because of these money personalities. Also, like I talk about in my new book, Stop Budgeting, Start Living, there are different financial set points that people have. Some of you were born in worlds of abundance. You never had to worry about money. Your needs were taken care of. You had your needs and wants always given to you. Many of you also grew up in a world of scarcity where you didn't even know where your next meal was coming from. You watched your parents work really, really hard for what they have. And guess what happens? You end up marrying each other, and then you put a budget on top of that, and you think that the budget is going to be the solution to your financial life, and it just isn't. So 3 scenarios we're going to talk about today, why those money personalities clash, and you're going to learn a lot about yourself and other people. So let's get started. First, let's talk about what the money personalities are. The money personalities, the ones that I use today, were created by Robin Crane. You can look her up, robincrane.com. And she helped me understand that these money personalities really influence the way that we make decisions when it comes to our money. So there are 5 in my world: dreamer, saver, giver, spender, and avoider. And each of them have different beliefs and behaviors when it comes to money. Did you know that? Right now, actually, if you're curious about what your money personality is, go to lisachastain.com/quiz and take the money personality, and then you can follow along. You'll know what your money personality is. All right, back to business. In a couple situation, I see this over and over again, that opposites attract. So we have dreamer, saver, giver, spender, avoider. And a lot of times I have my spenders who attract savers and vice versa. Well, our spender money personality are people who love to spend money. Spending money makes them feel abundant. In the world of personal finance, spenders have gotten a really bad rap, and they're the ones that are getting shamed over and over again. Listen, there's nothing wrong with spending money. Our entire economy is built and founded on people spending money. And if you think that it's just women spending money, you're wrong. We all have different money personalities, and I see just as many spender money personalities as I do saver money personalities. So what happens when a saver marries a spender? Saver money personalities tend to come from scarcity. Guess what? It's not just about saving money all the time. These are people who perhaps were raised in a lot of financial scarcity, and they operate from scarcity, which also means that savers tend to operate from a not enough conversation. And if you're operating from a place of not enough or fear or scarcity, you're going to be creating that all over your life. Also, our saver clients tend to overanalyze the shit out of finances. They wait before making decisions. They research before making decisions. That's there's behaviors, researching, waiting, analyzing. There's also the belief system that goes behind that. And typically what I see with my saver clients is that they were born from a mindset of fear and scarcity when it comes to money. Spenders are people who their financial set points a lot of times are abundance, movement, freedom. They value that's important to them, and spending money does not trigger them like savers. So these two people get married. A saver marries a spender, and this happens all across the board in the different money personalities, but we're going to use these two right now because they're complete opposites. So a saver marries a spender, and all of a sudden the saver wants to research and analyze and have a budget in place and control the spender because spending freaks them out. Listen, this does not work in relationships. A lot of times when people get to me in my office, I've got the saver who's in breakdown, who's really frustrated, who's trying to control the spender and teaching them how to budget, and the spender wants nothing to do with it. My husband's a spender. Not spending money is not an option for a spender. Their value system is connected to movement and freedom. These are people who think abundantly. You'll hear them say things like, I'll always go out and make more money. Making money is a strength of a spender typically. Savers are good at analyzing, but they don't always do a great job of sales. They don't do a great job of making more money. They don't do a great job of negotiating a lot of times. Very different kinds of people. And then where they're married, all of a sudden the saver wants to hold the spender back. The spender wants more freedom. And then all you're doing is fighting about values and preferences. A budget is only going to make this worse. So if you're a saver and your partner's a spender or vice versa, here are some things that I want you to think about in this moment today. Spenders, realize that spending money triggers your partner's nervous system. There is something about the way that they make decisions where they might need more time, they might need more research. So you have to realize that this is a part of their anatomy. It's not going to change, but also you can do some things to help them and encourage them in making decisions. And one of those things is asking really powerful questions. Ask your saver partner, ask your saver significant other, hey, how does this make you feel? Before I do it, are you going to be okay with it? And what do you need to know? That's another one. What do you need to know before I make this decision? Now, the beauty in that, spenders, is it's going to slow you down long enough to think through the decision and have an open, honest conversation. Now, you spending money is going to trigger more than likely your saver money personality that you're in relationship with. But if you have clarity on your numbers, another tip that I would suggest is to learn how to forecast financially. Spenders, when you can forecast financially and the saver can plug in and see the impact of your decisions, it's going to make things smoother over time. I teach this in my Stop Budgeting course. You can go to lisachastain.com, find the courses there. If you want to learn how to financially forecast, this is going to help both of your relationships, which is a much different way of looking at your money ahead of time versus just trying to control what is. So savers and spenders, just realize that you're very different. It's going to look and feel differently. Take the money personality quiz, start having new conversations when it comes to money. Here's a second scenario. When money meets business partnerships. Again, opposites attract. And it's very likely that if you're in a business partnership, sometimes you can attract people who are just like you, which isn't really good either, because then you have groupthink that isn't supportive and you're all thinking the same, you're all operating the same. There are a lot of blind spots that come with that. But right now, what I want to talk about actually is why two smart people build a business together. One who wants to reinvest everything into the business, and the other who just wants to stack cash. I've had this before in business partnerships. One's a huge dreamer, the other is a saver, and they're like oil and water. One partner dreams big, wants to go big, has no problem with accumulating debt to grow the business as long as they can understand the ROI that goes with it. The other one is like a squirrel, save, cut back. No, just slash expenses. And these can be really tough relationships to be in because their set points, the way that they're operating, the way that they see the world is so different. This is a huge clash in business where one's a huge dreamer. Guess what? That's typically your CEO. And then another one's a huge saver or avoider. We have a lot of people who avoid finances, which is really interesting. And a lot of them can be CFOs because they don't like emotional relationships. They don't want to talk about emotions. They want to talk about numbers. But here's the thing. No matter what your money personality is, your relationship with money is almost entirely emotional. It doesn't matter if you're a saver, dreamer, spender, avoider, or giver. You are operating out of emotional reasons financially. The savers, the avoiders, the CFOs want to lock all of that away and just look at numbers, just look at the P&L. But you can't operate business that way because every single one of you, if you're in business, you have a why this matters, why this is important. And our big dreamers, they're risky. They have a high tolerance for risk. They're always about building a bigger plate. And that can be in direct conflict with someone's scarcity conversation or someone sitting safely behind the numbers. So which one are you? The dreamer who dreams big, thinks big, risks big, and also maybe has a couple bankruptcies under their belt because of that? Or are you the saver who wants to squirrel all of the money away? But here's the thing, you can't grow a business just squirreling money away. You're going to have to take some risks. The two of you can come together and balance each other's approach, but it's going to take work for you to get there. So take the money personality quiz. Start there. Who are you? And ask this question. Why am I the way that I am? Where did that come from? What do I believe? Is it a belief or is it a fact? Most of the time, they're just beliefs. You can work on those things together. You can create balance and harmony in the relationship. I'm going to leave you with that for now. Third scenario when it comes to money personalities and how they clash. Have you ever had that awkward moment when the check comes and then suddenly the friendship feels off? Why is that? Maybe one of you always pays. Hello, giver money personality. Maybe one of you never pays and you just kind of skirt by. That's not necessarily the giver or the spender money personality, but it could be any other money personality. Right now in this moment, we're going to talk about the giver versus the saver. Now, saver, you might think through this video that I'm picking on you, and in some ways I am, because in the personal finance industry, the saver has gotten the accolades. The saver is the one that all the personal financial experts are championing. Caleb Hammer, Dave Ramsey, Susie Orman. But the thing is that there's a lot of dis-ease and discomfort that shows up when it comes to the saver, a lot of judgment. It's not that you're doing things wrong necessarily. It's just that you've got to know there are these different money personalities. Actually, I'm going to talk about all 5 of the money personalities right now. I think that would be way more fun. Here's how the money personalities show up at a table and how they clash. The spender is the one at the table that's ordering for everyone, ordering shots for everyone. They're not even thinking about it, and the bill just keeps racking up. The spender is the one that orders the second or third bottle of wine for the table, and behind the scenes, everyone else is like, "Oh, I wasn't planning on that." But the spender's like,
"No problem. It's just going to figure itself out."
Who can relate to that? And then on the other side, probably next to the spender, you've got the giver who's like,
whatever you think, I'm going to go along with whatever you want to do, even though I only have $10 in my account right now. I don't know exactly how I'm going to pay for this, but I'm going to go along with it. I'm not going to rock the boat. I'm going to put my need aside. Even if I'm vegetarian, I'm going to let them order steak and tell them no big deal. It's okay.
Because givers give away their power. I'm being dramatic for a purpose, right? But the giver money personality, you know who you are. You're watching this with friends right now. You're laughing because you're like, oh my God, that's totally who I am. You show up with gifts for everyone. You don't even know how you're going to pay rent tomorrow, but this is how it shows up at table at dinner with everybody. Then you're stressing out about it, but you're not going to tell anybody because you just want to be supportive in the moment and have a good time. I'm going to go through all the money personalities, by the way, so make sure that you stay with me here. And if you want to know your money personality, go to lisachastain.com/quiz. This is a great conversation starter for a girls' night out. Okay, so then there's the spender who's ordering like crazy, who doesn't care, who's in the moment, who's ordering the Veuve or the Dom Perignon for everyone. They're like, oh my God, how are we going to afford this? Then you have the giver who's just going along with it. It's going to support everybody, going to put their needs aside. And then you have the saver who's like, well, that's fine, but I'm not paying for anything but mine. So the saver's on the corner right there. They have their phone out, calculating as things are being ordered, what it is that they're ordering and what they have money for. So they sit down even before they order and they have the menu out. And then they have their calculator and they're calculating in their head to the dime exactly how much they have. So they order the appetizer instead of the meal because they don't want to overspend. And even if they have $2 million in the bank, because they probably do, they're ordering dinner based on the $15 appetizer because it's smaller, and they're probably not even going to tip. They're going to let other people handle that. Okay, so that's the saver. And then we have the avoider who's just not there because they're at home taking a bath. They're not even showing up. They're running from their problems. Or they're on the opposite side, the avoiders with the spender over there who's just like ordering everything and they're like,
I'll put on my credit card and figure it out later.
And so then finally we have the dreamer. The dreamer is feeding into all of this, but really is talking to people about their dreams and their goals. And they're probably talking about how successful they are, even though they don't have a whole lot of money in the bank. And so they're going to order the most expensive thing on the menu just to impress their friends, not necessarily because it's even something that they want, but they want people to think that they're successful. So they're going to spend their money on that. Totally different reasons and totally different ways of being at the table based on the money personalities. You're starting to get this, right? So then the check comes. What happens when the check comes? It sits in the middle of the table. The giver's terrified because they're afraid they're going to get stuck with the bill. So it's between the giver and the spender in the moment about who's going to pay the bill. The avoider's not there, remember? So they're checked out. And then you have the cheap chip who has $20 in their wallet and puts the $20 out. So what happens? When the check comes, the giver pulls out their credit card, the spender pulls out their credit card, and they decide to split it. But then the spender says, hey, I got this. Or the dreamer says, hey, I got this. They put it all on their credit card. They pay the bill. They go on to what's next in the evening. Now, behind the scenes, the cheap chip is like, I only paid what I paid. But the spender's resentful of the saver because the saver didn't pay for more than what they ordered. Saver's good with that. The giver is resentful because the giver wanted to pay for everyone but knew they couldn't afford to, so they let someone else handle the bill. And then the dreamer chips in, puts their Amex down on the table, and pays for everyone. But then the dreamer spends the whole week trying to collect funds and no one else pays. No one else pitches in and barely anybody tipped. Scenario that could go any way. But when it comes to our money personalities in full force, this is exactly what shows up in all of the money personalities. And if you're not careful, you're judging other people based on who you are. And it doesn't work. So in this video, you've had 3 different examples of different money personalities, how they show up in relationships, and how they clash. The number one thing I would recommend that you do right here, right now is 1, realize that not everybody is the same. 2, get to know your own money personality first. And make sure that you have systems in support of the way that you work best, and be mindful of the fact that there are things that you do no matter what money personality you are that don't support you, that don't serve you, and it's time for a new way of being when it comes to money. Third thing is learn money systems and strategies that work for each money personality best. For example, in my household, my spender husband gets a spending account every single week. Money goes into that account. I'm not going to force my husband to not spend money. It'll never work anyway. And in my money personality course, which is on my website, you can take the money personality, you can get to know your individual money personality, and then you can get to know the other money personalities, the strengths and weaknesses of each of them. It's a great start for understanding and appreciating everyone for who they are and realizing that a budget probably works for none of these money personalities best. I'm Lisa Chastain. I'm a personal money coach, mentor, and author, and I'm on a mission for people to take control of their lives financially without budgeting. If you liked this video, make sure that you subscribe, send it to someone that you know would appreciate this conversation too, and I'll see you right here on the next conversation when it comes to money, awareness, relationships with money, and what you can do to heal your relationship with money so that you can live your best life. You can stop budgeting and you can start living. I'll see you next time.